Welcome to the Midweek Refuel, where we seek out the ancient wisdom simply because modern sanity has all the flair of a DMV waiting room with a Wi-Fi password that doesn't work. Today, we're stepping into one of Chesterton's most piercing of insights, and that's really saying something for him. He doesn't go today after atheists by calling them irrational. He goes after them by calling them too rational. And in a world that seems obsessed with optimization, control, and what they call mental clarity, Chesterton's warning is this: be careful what kind of clarity you're chasing. You might end up stuck in a well-lit prison cell with a microscope where your soul should have been. Chesterton opens this stretch by telling us what he's not doing. He's not arguing yet about whether materialism is true or not. He's asking something far deeper than that, something that hits way below the intellect. He's asking, can a soul even live here? So, let's do an imaginary exercise. Picture with me two men. One thinks he's Jesus Christ. The other thinks we're all just random atoms bouncing randomly towards inevitable decay. Chesterton says of both of these men that they are both logical, both have systems, coherent systems, both can explain everything away. The man in the asylum, well, he can explain why people deny he's Jesus, because that's exactly what the people did to the real Jesus. But he's trapped in a loop, and where no amount of evidence can ever shake him free of it. And the materialist, just as wild. He can explain away love, beauty, worship, and sacrifices, evolutionary blips on the screen, clever little tricks that you learn from your ancestors' survival software. But in doing so, he explains away the very things that make life worth living at all. Everything makes sense to them, but nothing sings for them. You see what's wrong here, don't you? They haven't lost their minds. They've lost everything except their minds. Their worlds have become small, sharp, and sealed tight. Chesterton says it like this, and it should go on a plaque somewhere. Quote, "He is in the clean and well-lit prison of one idea," unquote. That, my friends, is one of the most terrifying sentences ever written. Because it's not a madhouse he's describing, it's a lab. It's not chaos he's depicting, it's clarity, and it will starve your soul to death. Now, before I read Chesterton's actual words today, if this is hitting home with you or helping you think more clearly, would you do us a favor and take just a moment to like and subscribe to this video? That simple act helps us get this truth past the filters, past the algorithms, past the gatekeepers, and into someone else's prison cell. Someone who might be trapped in that well-lit prison and not even know it yet. All right, so let's hear it from the man himself. Now, I want to read this section straight from Chesterton for you, and I want you to really hear the rhythm and the weight of what he is saying. This is from Orthodoxy, chapter 2. It must be understood that I am not now discussing the relation of these creeds to truth, but for the present, solely their relationship to health. Later in the argument, I hope to attack the question of objective verity. Here I speak only of a phenomenon of psychology. I do not for the present attempt to prove to Haeckel that materialism is untrue any more than I attempted to prove to the man who thought he was Christ that he was laboring under an error. I merely remark here on the fact that both cases have the same kind of completeness and the same kind of incompleteness. You can explain a man's detention at Hanwell by an indifferent public by saying that it is the crucifixion of a God of whom the world is not worthy. The explanation does explain. Similarly, you may explain the order in the universe by saying that all things, even the souls of men, are leaves inevitably unfolding on an utterly unconscious tree, the blind destiny of matter. The explanation does explain, though not, of course, so completely as the madman's. But the point here is that the normal human mind not only objects to both, but feels to both the same objection. Its approximate statement is that if the man in Hanwell is the real God, he is not much of a God. And similarly, if the cosmos of the materialist is the real cosmos, it is not much of a cosmos. The thing has shrunk. The deity is less divine than many men, and according to Haeckel, the whole of life is something much more gray, narrow, and trivial than many separate aspects of it. The parts seem greater than the whole. For we must remember that the materialist philosophy, whether true or not, is certainly much more limiting than any religion. In one sense, of course, all intelligent ideas are narrow. They cannot be broader than themselves. A Christian is only restricted in the same sense that an atheist is restricted. He cannot think Christianity false and continue to be a Christian, and the atheist cannot think atheism false and continue to be an atheist. But as it happens, there is a very special sense in which materialism has more restrictions than spiritualism. Mr. McCabe thinks me a slave because I am not allowed to believe in determinism. I think Mr. McCabe a slave because he is not allowed to believe in fairies. You feel the punchline coming, don't you? He's not being silly about fairies. He's saying that when you kill off mystery altogether, you kill off meaning altogether. And when you define everything so hard that it fits in a test tube, you lose the sky itself. Mr. McCabe calls Chesterton a slave because he believes in God. Chesterton says, "You're the one in the cage, brother. I've got the sword and the stars. You've got the cage and the calculator." The Christian is a knight errant. The materialist is a lab rat. That's the line I want you to remember today. Because this world wants to lock you in a clean and well-lit prison of one idea. It wants to make your mind sharp, but your spirit numb. So don't take the deal. Let your faith be wild and feral. Let your theology breathe in the wholesome air. Let your sanity be rooted in the full mystery of a God who came down, bled out, broke death, and rose up. That doesn't fit in a lab. It fits in your chest. Christ is not a metaphor. He is not a theory. He is not a system. Christ is the door. Kick it open. Step into wonder. Christ is King. Hail to the King.